Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will talk about strategies and tactics in basketball. Fast break, or do you prefer to rely on the defense? In basketball, the tactics of the game often decide between defeat and victory. Here you will learn everything about the basics of strategy, the typical tactics in basketball, and which exercises you can use to practice the different moves. What does tactics mean in basketball? In basketball, tactics play an important role because they often decide whether a team wins or loses the game. But what exactly does tactics in basketball mean? Tactics in basketball are understood as all organized measures to attack and defend, which are used by players to reach a premeditated conclusion. There are two types of tactics, defensive and offensive tactics. In addition, a distinction can once again be made between pre-tactics and team tactics. Pre-tactics describes moves in offense and defense that are only played by certain players in a team. With the team tactics, all 5 players will try to reach a certain goal at the same time together. Through the targeted use of different tactics, the team can get decisive advantages in a basketball game, which can ultimately lead to winning the match. Basketball Tactics 101. In order to understand the finer points of tactics and strategy in basketball, you should know the basic terms in advance. We have everything you need to know about the playing field, the zone, and the player positioning so that you can become a tactics expert. The court. Basketball is played on a rectangular playing field with a hard surface. The playing field itself is divided by circles, lines, and zones, each of which has its own set of rules. In the following infographics, we have marked the most important lines and areas on the basketball court for you. The paint. Basically, the playing field is divided into different sections. The paint is the area located in the white rectangle under the baskets and extends to the free throw line. It plays an important role in attack and defense. Players on offense can only stay in the paint for 3 seconds before a foul is called. The positions. In order to understand the tactics involved in basketball, it's important to have a grasp of different positions. Important to know. In basketball, there are no fixed offensive or defensive positions, as is the case with soccer or handball. All 5 players on the playing field must be able to both attack and defend. Nevertheless, each player usually has a specific role. Players are usually divided into 2 groups, forwards and guards. In basketball, there are always 5 players on the field. There are up to 7 substitutes who can be switched as often as needed. The starting lineup in basketball is called the starting 5. Today, the positions are usually the following: 1 center, 2 forwards, wing or attacking players, and 2 guards. This is also known as the 2-1-2 formation. However, other starting positions are also possible, like 3 guards. The center. The center is usually the biggest and physically strongest player on the court. He normally stands with his back to the basket and works in the paint, directly under the basket. His goal is to gather rebounds. The guard? The guards are usually the smallest yet fastest players on the court. They can be divided into shooting guards and point guards. The shooting guard focuses on distance three-pointers, while the point guard brings the ball to half court and calls the plays. He needs both ball handling skills and a solid grasp of the game. The position is therefore also called playmaker. The forward. Forwards can fall into 2 categories, the small forward and the power forward. Both forwards are offensive players who, like the center, play in the paint and get rebounds. The biggest difference between the 2 positions is the size of the players. The power forward is larger and plays with his back to the basket, similar to the center. His goal is to snag rebounds on offense and defense. The small forward focuses primarily on working the ball to the paint. Good ball handling, speed, and strong passing are prerequisites for a small forward. All positions are numbered from the smallest to the largest player. The counting starts with the smallest player with number 1, point guard, and goes up to the largest player with number 5, center. In the following video, the different game positions will be explained simply and clearly. What are the basic basketball tactics? In basketball, a distinction is made between attack and defense setups. However, a quick turnover can change this quickly. The defense serves a team to be able to attack quickly again. because the general goal in basketball is to score more goals at the end, and thus more points than the opponent. Here we present you the most well-known moves for offense and defense. Defensive plays in basketball. In basketball, the goal of the defense is to gain possession of the ball by stealing the ball or getting a defensive rebound. Their task is to prevent the opponent from scoring. Basketball players do this by blocking and stealing the ball. In basketball, there are different defense strategies to choose from. The best-known moves in defense are usually man-on-man defense and zone defense. Man-on-man defense. In man-on-man defense, or one-man defense, as the name suggests, each attacker is assigned an individual defender. The defender has the task of making life for that player difficult. Zone defense. Zone defense is a defense in which players focus not on a single opponent, but on an area or zone. Each player has the objective of controlling a certain area, the space below the basket. If an opposing player enters this area, the defender tries to stop and block him. If the opponent leaves the area, then it's the responsibility of the other defending player to cover that opponent. Hybrid defenses. During the course of a game, teams usually change their defensive strategy from man-on-man to zone defense to keep the opponents on their toes. Theoretically, teams can also use a mix of both styles of defense, but the teams rarely use them. For example, a 4-player basketball team can play zone defense, while a defensive player guards an opponent man-on-man, putting pressure on him, known as box-in-one defense. This is useful when there is a dominant player on the opposing team. Additional tips for practicing defense can be found in the following video of I Love Basketball TV. Offensive basketball. On offense, there are many different tools available to your team. The goal of the attack is to break through the opponent's defense and set up an uncontested shot. For this, you will need strong fundamentals: dribbling, passing, and shooting. Here we present the most important tactical plays and attacking moves in basketball. The attackers should choose their play based on what the opponent is doing. Find the flaws and exploit them. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.